Hello, people of the world, and welcome back on the Marry in Motion podcast. Today, I want to share with you a story about a day that could have been like every other day, but turned into a crazy adventure. At first, it was nothing dramatic, nothing adventurous. I was just going to buy a pair of glasses. But because it happened in China while I was traveling there, it turned into a little survival mission. It's a day where I learned how much I rely on my phone and how quickly small things can spiral into big problems. So let's dive in. I was traveling in China, visiting my boyfriend at the time, and he was living there full-time. He was doing an internship over there, so I decided to visit. I decided to stay for 2 weeks because at that time French citizens had 2 weeks free visa for China, so I decided to just use it and stay there for 2 weeks. So the first week we traveled a bit around, then again a bit, and the last few days before my flight we were back next to Shanghai. Suzhou, I never know how to pronounce it. That's where he was living. So we were there and he had to go back to work because he couldn't get so much vacation. So during that day I was all alone and I thought I should just go and explore something. But I didn't really know what to visit because we already visited the city and we also visited a lot around. So I was looking for stuff to do. And then I realized that for a long time now, I wanted to change my glasses. And so I saw that not far away from Shanghai, there was Danyang, I think it's pronounced. Yes, Danyang. It's a city known for its glasses. Like over there you have big malls of a lot of manufacturers that are specialized in glasses. I don't know why. So it was the place to buy glasses. People in China travel there only for glasses because it's very cheap and very fast. And so I decided to go there. So I hopped on the train and I arrived there without much of an issue. Then I got a bit lost in the station because it was a big city and everywhere were malls and I didn't know where to go. But I just went in the first mall and it was so big, and in the mall, there were only glasses shop, only that. So I had a lot of choice, but also people were always coming at me like, yeah, what do you want? Do you want to buy glasses? But I had a very specific style in mind, which is this style that I'm wearing right now. It's big, squared, plastic framed glasses, which they didn't really much have. So I had to look a lot around, and also I didn't know what to choose, and when I found some good ones, I had to negotiate the price with the merchants, which I'm not very comfortable in doing. So, I mean, that was okay compared to what comes after, but I still had to do that, which I was not so comfortable doing. And then I chose the glasses I wanted. I took 2 pairs. Then the woman was like, okay, no problem. We have your, I don't know how we say it, but like the curve of the lenses. I don't know. They measured everything from my old glasses and then they just went into, I don't know what, but she said in less than an hour you will have your glasses, so just go and have a look around and then come back in 1 hour. And actually they called me back in less than 20 minutes to say that the glasses were ready. So I just went back to the shop, which is crazy because in France, I know when you have to make glasses, you first have to go to the doctor, which will measure your eyes. And then you have to go to another shop where you have to choose the frames you want. And then they will manufacture, I don't know, the lenses, the glass, everything. And it takes like 2 weeks or something. So I was really impressed. And then I was trying them on, it fits perfectly. So I was so happy and I really liked the style of them. But this is where the real story begins. I went back to the train station to buy my return ticket, and then surprise, all of the trains were fully booked. All of them. Not one seat left, which I was seeing on the app. Then I was trying on the monitor, but everything was in Chinese, and I couldn't really translate all, so I didn't know what was happening. On the app, then I saw one seat that was left, so I quickly tried to buy it, and then I don't know what happened, but my phone just turned black, and then I couldn't turn it on again. My phone just stopped working. And I don't know if you know, but in China, everything you do, I mean, at the places where I have been, if you don't have a phone, you cannot do anything, especially as a foreigner, because you have some apps where you can message people. You have so Alipay, it's a big app where you have everything you need. So there is a shop, there are games, but especially there is something to pay, something to translate, and that's all I needed. So I had used Alipay for my whole trip when I was in China for 2 weeks, so I didn't carry any cash with me, and I don't think I had my credit card either, which is a big mistake. But I had never the use of it before, so yeah, without your phone you cannot do anything, literally, and you are completely cut off from the world, because I cannot speak a word of Chinese, and most of Chinese people around me couldn't speak a word of English, so I was really lost, and the panic started rising because I saw that the next trains were fully booked, and I had no way of just finding other solutions, or I didn't even know if the next trains were fully booked or not. Like, it was a bit stressful, and I was there in the station just thinking about my life and my choices, and then I just decided to just try it, to play the lost foreigner strategy, because I had nothing else. Like, I didn't really know what to do. So I don't know if you know, but to enter a train station in China, you have to have a ticket. Like, they check, there is a gate before going to the tracks, and they check your ticket, which I didn't have. So I just talked with the guy. I'm like, please, I have a ticket, but my phone died. But he couldn't understand anything I was saying, so he was getting annoyed, and me too, because I was a bit panicking. Maybe he was seeing it. And then I saw the train coming, and he was like, okay, just go. And he let me go through the gate. Then the train arrives. I go in, and then I don't know where to sit, because I don't have an assigned seat. And there were a few stops. It was not very long, but still a few stops. And I didn't want to stay standing. I thought it was a bit obvious. But then I did something that was maybe a bit more obvious. I went to the cafeteria wagon. I don't know how we say, but like the whole car that is just some seats for people that want to eat or drink something, which was full of people that looked like they also didn't have a seat because they were not eating or drinking anything. So I thought I would just sit there and just pray that nobody says anything before my stop, which of course didn't happen. There was the controller of the tickets. He entered the wagon, and then he only checked 2 people in the whole thing. It was another guy and me, of course. And I had nothing to show because I didn't have a ticket and I didn't have my phone. So I still had hope that the ticket I was trying to buy before my phone died, went through. So I still gave my name and said that I had a ticket, but my phone just died. So he looked into the system and he didn't see my ticket anywhere, which, there was a big chance that I didn't buy any. So he's trying to understand my situation, but you have to realize that everything that I'm saying now is happening through his phone, through his translator. So we are not at all speaking to each other. It's just written things. So I'm trying to explain that my phone died. I didn't know how to get home. I'm not sure if I have a ticket, and I'm a bit panicking. And because I don't know how it works, I don't want to have issues with the police or anything. I just want to get home, and I want to pay a ticket if he wants. but I don't have any way to pay because I don't have a phone. And he was just saying, okay, we will deal with it. Then he was going to speak to someone else, then he would come back and I would say the same thing over and over again. So it was a bit terrifying, but he didn't seem mean, but I didn't understand anything that was happening. And at the same time, I was trying to contact my boyfriend that was somewhere, and before my phone died, I had sent him a message like, oh lol, all the trains are booked, I'm stuck here. Like, it was a bit of a joke, but I knew I would find a solution. But that's the last message I sent, and then nothing. So I was trying to reach out, but of course I didn't know his number. So I was trying to find the number of the company where he was working with my neighbor, which also didn't understand any English. But he was still trying to help, but it didn't work very much. So I was hopeless. I just sat there waiting, stressed, and I was counting the minutes until my arrival in the station. Then the train finally arrived at my stop, which was Suzhou, and the inspector told me that I needed to go to another colleague of him that was outside. He was like, he would deal with you. So I went off the train and I went with this guy, and I didn't know what would happen, so I braced myself for the worst. And we walked a bit together. He was like, yeah, you will go to the station, or I don't know what they were saying. And then we went down the stairs, out of sight from the train and the other inspector. And then he was like, just go. And I was like, oh my God, what's happening? I'm not sure if I understood it right, but I'm sure he said, just go. And then I didn't wait. I was just like, okay. And I just left. And I went out of the station a bit shocked, because also I wasn't sure if that's really what he said, if he really let me go. I really don't know. And also, to get out of the station, you have to scan your passport and you have to have a ticket. So again, I scanned my passport and the guy was like, you don't have a ticket, you cannot exit the station and everything. But again, I played the Lost Foreigner act, and eventually he let me go because there were a lot of people queuing behind me and it was peak hour, so I think that's why. So I got very lucky, but I couldn't believe it. I was out of the train station, and so for the second time of my day, I played the Lost Tourist Foreigner act and it worked, which I think would only work in China because they really don't want to be bothered by foreigners because it's too complicated, I guess. But from there, I had to get home because I was hosted by my boyfriend, which didn't live in the center of the city at all. And it's such a big city. So I had to take the metro. Hopefully, I had like 2 coins in my pocket, which I managed to get a ticket from, because it was also not easy because they don't want to have cash. So I had to find a guy working for the metro that would accept to take my coins to exchange it for a ticket. But eventually I got it, and I'm really proud of myself because on the way to go to that city, I memorized all of the way, which is very unlikely because everything is written in Chinese, but I knew what stop was mine. I mean, I was not sure 100%, but it was the good one. So yeah, I had no phone, no map, and I found my way back, which really I'm very proud of. But all that time, he was very confused and didn't know where I was. Also, we planned to meet in the city for dinner with some friends and everything, but I didn't know where to go, so I first went back to his apartment where I had my computer, so I could reach out to him and say, hey, my phone broke, but I'm back home. What should I do? I'm a bit lost. When I came back home, and then I reached out and I said, yeah, I was lost, but now I'm back. I was so reassured to be finally home and finally safe, because it was such a stressful way, and especially you are in a foreign country, you are just lost, and you don't know what can happen, you don't know about the law, and you're a foreigner, you don't speak the language. Like, really, it was awful. And then I learned afterwards that he was so worried that he even called the police to say that I was somewhere lost, because he thought maybe I got kidnapped or just I went into the wrong train. So it was funny, because as soon as he got my call, he just called the police back to say, hey, she came back. Which, now I think about it, I could have come to the police, but I don't know what they would have told me, because I had no way to pay anything. Or maybe, I don't know what I could have done differently. Eventually it all turned out well, and actually my phone turned back on. I was with a friend this night, and he just did something on the buttons on the side of the phone. He just pressed them all together for super long, and then I don't know what happened, and it just turned back on, which I'm a bit mad I didn't know about, because I could have done that before, because I really thought it was just completely dead, and actually it wasn't. And then it continued working for like 6 months or so. So I don't know what happened. But then I had a crazy story to tell, so maybe it's a good thing. It also showed me how dependent we are to our phones. But I think this one is very specific to China, because here in France I would never go out without my papers, without my credit card, or even without a bit of cash. And also I know how it works in France. I could have taken a train ticket, I could have asked someone. So I really think China is very dependent on their phones, which sometimes is convenient, but when you just break it like that, you cannot do anything. And also, after that, I always kept a little paper with the phone number of my relatives or the people I was in contact with in the country, so that if something happened, I could call them with someone's phone, so that they don't get too worried. Maybe you should do that too if you go on a little trip like me. So that was my little glasses story from China. That's the glasses I still wear today, which I really love. So maybe it was worth it. I think it was worth it, because I also paid like 30 euros for 2 pairs of glasses with prescription. So I think it was good, and it was very stressful during this trip, but then afterwards I would laugh about it. So I think it was good at the end. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next episode.